Hey everybody, we're going live. Hey Wagner. Hey, the only real Fig Newton. Thanks for showing up. Hey everybody. So I'm going to be doing a live with a new friend tonight. And she'll be popping in about a minute or so. Hey Nikki. Hey K Frusciante 11. Hey Nikki's Astrology. He's Tarot and Astrology, my apologies. There she is, Stardust Wanderer. Tarot, when you are ready, Jen, just send me an invite. There you go. Hey, Seven, what's up, buddy? Let's see here. I have you. Now, will you accept me too?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Jen?
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for hanging out with me this Thursday night.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, come on. It is the place to be.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing else going on right now except this. Nothing else exists.
Nothing else exists at all. I love that.
Now.
It is just now.
Yes.
Yeah. So how I feel like I haven't known you that long on the whole Instagram thing. We've only recently met, right?
Yeah, I think a couple months ago. Yeah, I think we can finally like cross paths. So
yeah. So you've been reading tarot for quite a while, right?
Yeah, since I was like 14. So just a few years.
Do you have a favorite deck that you use?
Oh my gosh, it changes daily. I have a very, very large collection of decks. So it is always really just I just go up to my bookcase and I just pick a deck. So I let it choose me.
Oh my God.
And that's just how I go with it. So what am I using today? Let's see. Really, it depends on what's on my desk. So what's on my desk? The Santa Muerte is on my desk. We have Mystical Medleys on my desk. Mm-hmm. And then just a regular Rider-Waite Smith on my desk. So those are the ones that I'm here grabbing at the moment.
All right. So you don't have like a go-to that you read like with clients, like a special one that's, that you just that you feel like it's a nice pair of jeans. It just feels really good.
Right. No, you know what? When I read for clients, I like to just, like I said, I just go to my bookcase and I just bring up that client in my mind and I just let the deck pick. And whichever one my hand goes to, that's the one I'm reading with.
Yeah, I usually bring like 3 decks with me and I'll say, I love them all equally. So if you could just like pick the one that is calling to you, that's kind of like me saying, well, you're already taking, fate into your own hands by you deciding.
Right. And, when I am doing in-person ones, I usually will grab a couple with me. And it's always so interesting, too, because some people that they'll choose the deck that sometimes I don't think that they would ever choose. Like I have like the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, which is pastel and pink and so cute. And so many men have chose that deck. And I'm like, all right, cool. Here we go. I love it.
Let's ride the unicorn.
That's it. That's what we're doing today.
That's great. I know. I use, let me show you this one. So there was one I brought today. My good friend, Joanna, I don't know if you follow her, Joanna Nelson Studio.
Oh, yes.
Did the little Monstero deck.
Oh, I love that. I have the app. I like that one. That's like my to-go one on my phone. I have the app for that one.
So I feel like every once in a while, this deck I'll bring out because it's so non-threatening. And like some people that are just kind of nervous around tarot, but their interests are piqued and they want to, give it a whirl. Mm-hmm. Sometimes like the Rider-Waite is just it can be very harsh.
It can, yeah.
And that's why I was drawn to like initially the Robin Wood deck as opposed to the Rider-Waite because it was so similar, but it's just the colors and the imagery just was softer. And then when I started getting more involved with like the indie decks, and then like your mind goes, you're like, oh my God, there's all these amazing freaking artists.
It is. It's so crazy. And it's so crazy just that from the Rider-Waite, like all these ideas that come out of it. And, and when you're creating a deck yourself too, it's just, you know, I'm like halfway and I'm halfway through creating my deck, but I'll, you know, my artist will send an image back and I'll be like, oh, wow, that's really cool how you did that. She's like, what do you mean? That's what you sent me. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really cool how I did that.
Yeah, so I definitely want you to talk a little bit about your deck, you know, because tell me a little bit about it and how it got started and like the idea behind it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's been in process now for a couple years. I had an artist originally, but she just couldn't commit to it, so she had to let go of it. So then it was on the hunt for another artist. Then I finally found my artist, Carol Phillips, and she is fantastic. She does cards for the 78 Tarot.
Yep.
She's done a card. I think probably each one she's done a card for. And, you know, we just got to talking and we hit it right off. And I just gave her my idea and she was like all about it. So my deck is very sci-fi, I would say. It's got space pirates in it. It's got gods and goddesses in it.
Wait, you said space pirates? I'm
Space
in already.
pirates.
I don't even know why I like the word space pirate so much, but I do. Like,
Right?
I have no idea what space pirates really are about, but I'm in now. I want your
Yeah, you know,
space pirates.
Yeah, if you think about like, even if you like comic books and stuff like that, like basically when you see pirate ships in space, like that's really what it is. And there's a lot of like galaxy imagery to it, steampunk kind of, you know, essence to it as well.
That's
and
awesome.
It actually is like a story deck. So the fool in the deck, her name is Mina, and she's half space pirate and half goddess.
Yeah.
But as she goes through the story of the fool, she kind of realizes like she didn't know she was a goddess. So then it's just her going through that whole transformation and meeting all these other things. Like Blackbeard is her father, and in the deck, and all the pirates in the deck are real pirates.
Right.
So I like did so much research.
That's very cool.
It's I know a lot about pirates.
Do you occasionally talk like a pirate? There's National Pirate Day too. Do you celebrate?
There is.
I mean, we just walk around our house going "arg" all the time, for whatever reason. You know?
Right. No, of course. I mean, you have to. And I always get excited because, like, when I have to mail stuff out, I use Pirate Ship, and then you can go on there, and then they have a little section that is like talk like a pirate. So it's just, you know, I entertain very easily. So it's just the little things that make me happy.
I'm just glad that you're a like-minded nerd like me. That's what it sounds like. I mean, we have to band together.
Yes, absolutely. You know? It's very important. And, you know, the people need to know these things. They need to know about the space pirates. So here we go.
Because they're out there, damn it. They're out there.
They are. They exist. And then, you know, I have gods and goddesses also involved. So they interact. It's like this whole world that I kind of came up with. And so it's been fun to kind of play on the gods and goddesses in a little bit of a different way too. And then just, you know, it's all in this deck.
Do you have, I know that you have some online because I've seen them, but do you have any of the, do you have any like pics that you could show that are like the hard copies? Or
no, I don't have any hard copies yet. Yeah, they're all on my Instagram. If you look on my Instagram, and I actually ordered a couple notebooks with the Hermit on it, and I was hoping they would get here, but they didn't make it because, you know, shipping.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you go on my Instagram, you can check all of them out.
Oh, I do. I definitely encourage everybody watching to check it out. There's some really cool images. So I love shit like that. I like about stuff like that all day. You know. So we were talking about things like discussing things to talk about, and you had mentioned the cards that kind of get like a bad rap.
Yeah.
You know, or like that scare people. So let's you know see what's behind the veil on those cards, for example. Yeah. Like let's talk about it and see, like let's go through some of those cards and see, you know, should we really be afraid of those cards?
Right. Exactly.
You know? So ladies first, what do you find? And it doesn't have to be like a typical one. You know, what is one to you or that you found or you've connected with? And I'll tell you some stories about like mine too. And then maybe we could talk about the positives of those cards and how you could use this, I don't want to say even a bad card, because I don't really think there are any bad cards, but some
No.
cards that get like a bad rap, maybe,
Yeah.
a little
Well,
later.
yeah, and I think too, a lot of it has to do with like just media, the movies, and because when we'll say the first one I think of when I think of like movie tarot is like the Three of Swords. Like people like, and you see that one all over every movie that, and then everybody's like, oh my God. But I really think that card, isn't a terrible card, because it's like one of those things, like it needs to happen. Like it needs to happen. And a lot of times when people see it, because especially, it's like the bloody heart and you're like, oh my God,
I know. It's pretty,
it's like,
yeah, it's pretty,
but
there's no hiding.
No, there's definitely blood involved, but, I mean, life is not always pretty, and we can't just pretend it is all the time. And especially when there's relationships involved, when, we're taking, I always like to, sometimes depending on what reading, I'll be like, you know what? That middle sword needs to come out, because that is something that is either keeping you separated or is like just such a bad habit or a personality trait or something, and it needs to go. And you know what? As you're taking that out, that shit's gonna hurt. But after it's done, then there can be healing afterwards.
Yes. And I think like I said, this isn't as bloody as the Rider-Waite, the traditional, or like,
Right.
But it is. But the image is pretty straightforward. I mean, you got three swords going through a heart. In this case, it's a skull heart. But the typical meanings for the Three of Swords, just if someone doesn't know out there, is heartbreak, is sorrow, is pain. Usually having to do with, like. You automatically go for the relationship first, because you see the swords and you think love triangle and you see like swords in it. But it could also talk about a lot of other things. I mean, it could talk about like needlessly cutting something out of your life. It could talk about surgery. It could talk about, but the imagery of it is very just in your face. And if it comes up in a reading and you have a deck that's a little more abrasive, right, than a cartoon skull, you'll be sitting next to, your client will be like, well, oh my God, what? Especially if they ask about a relationship.
Right. And it's automatically like they just go right into the doom spiral. Like it's just open them up and throw them in because they're done. And it's, and I always just like to be like, whoa, hold on. Like, let's really just dive into this, because obviously there's something prickly here and it needs to be addressed. And if this is showing up, then, that relationship, there's a reason why it needs to be looked at. There's a reason why you're here asking me about it today.
Yes. Perfect. I love that you said that. If someone's asking about their relationship and they're in a relationship for a long time, I don't like it when, people that are married are asking me about their relationships. You know what I mean? When they're clearly say, well, and a lot of times I just prefer, I don't even want to know if you're married or not. Take rings off. I just want to go with intuition. But if you happen to tell me I'm married, and then you say, I'd like to know about my relationship, and the first card you get is that.
Right.
I mean, you really have to break through and see if it's more mental anguish, or is it really like a betrayal? Does she already know something? Because that's also a very slippery slope when you're a tarot reader. You don't want to say, oh, well, so-and-so is cheating on so-and-so.
Yeah. Like, and it's like, no, like you never want to like be that person. And then that's diving into like a whole nother realm. Cause then it's like, you're owning the situation at that point. Like you're involved in this. Like they're the ones that are going to protect you.
You feel responsible. Like, you're accountable now. So that card, that Three of Swords, can open a big can of worms. So that's why you got to say, especially if they're asking about a relationship, are you concerned? And it's okay if you're the tarot reader to ask questions. I don't think that takes away anything from the magic of it. Yes, no. And Nikki hit it right on. I like to use shadow work type of questions for relationship spreads. 100%. And that's perfect for that. Because when I see this, and you see how the swords are just piercing. In this case, it's a skull, but it's just a
Mm-hmm.
heart. But in this way, it could be mental anguish. I mean, or a
Right.
massive headache if you look at it. So
It could
obviously they're
be.
stressed about something, and you need some type of relief. So, and I think like, and to make lemonade from lemons, whenever someone is going through a breakup, yeah, everyone focuses on the breakup, right? The pain, and you should allow yourself to feel that pain. Okay,
Right.
it's useful.
Yeah, you have to.
But the best part of the breakup is finding that new love,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah, and taking those lessons that you learned from the last relationship to the new one, so that you know, like, okay, well, that didn't work. I don't like this. I don't like that. So now you can, bring that over to the next and be like, all right, this
right,
is how I want it to go.
right. Now, would you say, and you're gonna love this segue because I'm just really good at stuff like that. The What would you think is worse, the Three of Swords or the Five of Swords? What would you rather see? Let's put it that way.
I think I almost would rather see the Five of Swords.
Interesting.
Because then I feel like there's more to pick from. There's more to start diving into. And like you said, I'm always asking, and I tell them, I'm going to ask you questions, and when you give me good answers, that means I can go deeper into the reading. Like, we can sit here and play the guessing game and like, oh, she's a psychic tarot reader, let's see what she can do. But then, you know what? You're going to waste all your time, and it's up, and we just didn't really do much of anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Like, you did make a good point. So the Five of Swords, empty victories, right? Really bad communication.
Right.
I don't like the Five of Swords. Being a Leo, I would take the Five of Swords over the Three of Swords. Just personally, because
Right.
I think like love over, like words. I always think of like miscommunication with the Five of Swords. I think people are so hostile to each other, and they take things out on each other and they don't mean it. And a lot of times, especially in families, you yell and you say something awful, and then you don't ever say the reason why you said it. You just say it. You're like, oh, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, well, that was harsh. And then they just walk away.
Right. Yeah, you're just that emotional reaction. And that's it. Like, you're just spouting off at that point. And
right.
Definitely. And I think with the Five too, like I said, I just feel like it gives it just more, like when you're doing it for a client, like I just feel like I have more to work with the Five, because then it's like, okay, it isn't just focused on this one situation. Like, all right, so there's some betrayal. Like what else is going on besides just this? Because sometimes those other things around you kind of have influence on the situation.
100%. And that's like using other cards to help out and clarify that one card.
Right.
I do that all the time. But like if you're doing like a 3-card spread, or if you're just doing one card with maybe a clarifier to that card, there's not a whole lot to go on.
Right.
You're relying on that person to tell you or a little bit more about the situation. Like, what situation have you been in recently where you felt like this, where someone has almost got one over on you, or now they're gloating on it, and it's just like, you feel like you've lost this battle that you didn't even want to fight. Right. And there's so many great terminology just for the Five of Swords. I'm trying to find a traditional Five of Swords image. That's why I'm like looking down, because I just want to see, like, because in the typical Five of Swords, there's some people just like, in the background defeated, and there's the person up front and he's just kind of like smiling, but really it's not something that person in the foreground, I think, is really happy about. Like, I think they're going to go home really upset that they made these other people feel bad, but they're never going to know it.
Yeah. Like once that emotional high of the situation kind of settles, it's kind of like, oh, okay, what just happened here?
I know. I'm trying to freaking find this thing.
I know. So I'm trying.
It's going to be the last one. It's going to be the last.
It is. It's hiding on both of us right now.
Just like the Five of Swords to do that.
Exactly. It's like, you talking about me? Fine. This is what you get.
Here we go. I know. Now this is a cute little. So this is the Monster Tarot deck. So it has that cute image.
Yeah, that one. That one. Oh yeah.
See the little guys in the
Yeah.
background? They're all sad. And this mean green monster is like, look what I just
Yeah.
did. I took their swords and now, I'm rubbing it in. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You
Look
know?
what I got.
Exactly.
No, I totally. It is so true.
Okay. So, I mean, are all the cards we're going to talk about swords? They are the most problematic.
They are. They are. And I think, a lot of people also don't love the swords. I personally love the swords because that's for me, like, that's when we're like getting to the nitty gritty. Like, we're getting in there.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I mean, it's not just problems. It's not like the stepchild of the tarot deck. You know what I mean? It's like, it's mental intellect, it's clarity, it's truth. You know what I mean? I just think it gets a bad rep because it is like, swords. You got that, a lot of cards in the sword suit are not, pleasing to look at. Like, let's go to the Ten of Swords. Okay? The Ten of Swords could arguably be one of the most feared cards in the deck.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, the traditional Rider-Waite image is just a dead person lying face down with 10 swords in them. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
How do you like, someone like comes in wide-eyed, don't talk bad about my 10 of swords. Hey, White Star Tarot, don't you worry. We're not hating on any cards.
No cards. Love for all.
Because Jen and I, we don't think there's any bad cards out there.
That's right.
Yes. Now, listen. Okay, so it's over.
It's over. Oh, damn. Begun. We're throwing down now.
It's only just begun. I apologize. I really do love all the tarot cards. I'm not picking favorites.
We love them all. Yeah.
I know. So, all right. So with the Ten of Swords, it looks very dire, right? And if you have someone asking a question and they're all like wide-eyed and they want like a tarot reading and you get that Ten of Swords, I feel like they have to know that life is full of beginnings and endings, right?
Right.
I think why the Ten of Swords sometimes get a bad rap is because some of the old archaic definitions for it have to do with like ruin, that destruction's over and it ended bad.
Yes. Right. It's like gory. It ended
painful, but then there's the sun breaking, right? In the background.
Right.
Okay. So there's the promise of a new day. I think if you get the Ten of Swords, like obviously like any card, where the position you get it in the reading is very important too.
Absolutely.
If it's in the past and someone looks scared, I'm like, don't worry. It already happened.
Yes, it's done.
This has happened already.
Yes.
It's like it's in the future. Then you're like, okay, what do we need to know? What needs to come to an end? Right.
And another part of that card too that I like and that I will sometimes focus on, especially if there is a client who sees that and just can only focus on the knives, is the water. Because the water in that is calm.
Yes. Yeah.
So we know that with emotion and all of those. So, it's one of those things, like, it's just like, you know what? It may have ended not so great, but you know what? It's over. You could take that deep sigh and just, okay, now where do we go from here?
In some cards, you want to see more reverse. Like you read reversals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the Ten of Swords reversed, it's almost like there was still an ending, I feel, but it wasn't as bad, or it's past, and now you're progressing and the healing has begun. Right. They're both signify endings. But if you have like, I don't want to say the Ten of Swords and make any comparisons to like the world because they're completely different things. But like if you look at the world, all right, major arcana opposed to a minor arcana, I know. The world is a book. It's like chapters in a book, I feel like. You graduate from college, you'll get the world card. That would be the perfect example. You retire, you get the world card. You get married. I mean, any chapter in your life, you're not going to reread the same book or chapter, right? You're going to put it down and you're going to go to the next one. But one of the definitions from the world is it did end happily. it is a happy ending kind of card. Whereas the
Right.
Ten of Swords is like, no, it was a painful ending. And
Right.
but I also think it needed to end. And that's
Right.
why.
It's over, like no matter what, like whether it was good or bad, it's done. Like it's over
Yes.
now. And that's why I just feel like it's like one of those things like, and I in a way too, I kind of feel like it's almost like a reflection too, like, wow, that really did end badly. Like, okay, so how can I use that to go forward?
Right. Right. What did we learn? It's all about lessons in the
Right.
tarot. I tell you, there's no bad tarot cards. There's cards that give you hard lessons, But I
Right.
think the Ten of Swords is just one of those because you have that image, and that image scares a lot of people. And that's why I like a lot of the indie decks out there, because they're not really making it all about the gore and just, oh, a person's dead laying on the ground.
Right.
You
Right.
know, like I just wanted it to be like swords going through a broken skull, and like it's chips and there's pieces around, just
Yeah.
because it shows that time has not been good to this skull, right? And it needed to end. It needs to move on. It needs to go. The winds of the change of time and everything. It's going to
Right.
keep going, and eventually it's going to be gone all the way. Let's see what some people are saying. So, Ancient
Right.
Voice. Ten of Swords can be inverted to reverse position so the swords fall away. 100%. I forgot to even mention that.
Right. Yeah,
It
definitely.
is. It is like its major mirror, the wheel. Good and bad flows up and downs of life. I definitely agree with the reverse position, Ancient Voices. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I do say that too, because when you're looking at it upside down, it's like one of the first things I think about is just seeing those swords coming out, and then the healing can start to begin.
Right. And I think too, when it's reversed like that, it's almost like, okay, so then it's something that you're going to be able to kind of pick up and carry on maybe a little bit faster than if it was upright.
Yeah.
Like, because maybe it's going to, because, if you think of it like that, like gravity, so it's going to be pulling those out to move forward. It's going to take a little bit more. Whereas if it's, reverse, they're falling out a little easier. So it's something that maybe that's a lesson you needed to learn, and you finally learned it. Like, it is done in your lifetime. So it's like, okay, off it goes.
Yeah. And either way, whether they fall out or whether they get pulled out, you're still going to have to get stitched up. I mean, there's still healing involved.
Yes. There are wounds left that need to be cared for. And
yes. And that's where the shadow work comes in, and that's where all this other good stuff that you could learn from this Ten of Swords. Absolutely. So it's not a bad card. We're talking it could set somebody off if they're not ready for it, because then you have to kind of teach them. It's like, no. I understand the image is a little dire, but really this is what it means.
Right.
So Co-creating today asked, I wonder why death scares people so much. Well, you said it, Jen, earlier. It's the media. Yeah. It's the media. You get these awful old movies, and they'll show like someone sitting with a gypsy fortune teller, right?
Yes.
Like they look at the crystal ball. They see
the seedy little place, you know.
And then like the death card will come up, and then like a day later that person will die.
Dead. They're dead.
And they show they'll show the death card, and then they'll show the person dying. And it's like
It's like boom, boom. Like
so most of the culture, most of our society does not read tarot cards. They know very little about tarot.
Yes.
So that's why, right there. I mean, you're getting the media, and you're getting a lot of just people that don't know that the death card is actually probably one of the best cards in the deck to get. Especially if you're looking for change.
Right. Right. No, it definitely is one of my favorites. And I'm always happy when I pull that card. Like, okay, here we go. Like, game on.
Exactly. And it's a lot. And I think it's better when the death card, and there's a lot of, like I said, there's thousands of decks out there, and the Rider-Waite just shows that the Grim Reaper riding the horse. And when you see that, and maybe you're religious, maybe you're not, maybe you get scared easily, I don't know, and you see that figure on the horse, it could turn off a lot of people. And all of a sudden you start thinking about mortality. But what if the death card, I don't know, is just like a rose in another deck?
Right.
I mean, it could easily be.
It absolutely could be. I mean, even if you want to, even the image of a rose, like, you just see the rose, but the petals are falling off, but there's a new bud coming through it, you know, like that kind of thing.
Like
Did we just create a tarot card?
I know. Well, I love the reference of like how death can often mean a woman's pregnant.
Right.
You know, because you're literally transforming one thing from the other.
Right.
So I don't know. There's so many great things about the death card, and if you get one person that's I don't know, Jen. I have a lot of people that will find me and they've never had a reading before. So I'm getting like a lot of virgin readers out there.
Yes.
But, you know, and I'm
lately, yes, I absolutely agree.
And I've been so surprised by that. I'm just like, oh, this is literally your first time, and then they'll get like the death card, the death swords. So I'm like,
all of them.
I'm like, come on,
get
cards.
The devil, you know, yes. Got all of them in there.
Yes, and I tell them, it's like, listen, I get it from your perspective. Some of these cards can seem a little scary, but they're really not. There's no bad cards. There's just, you know, there's just lessons, and some lessons are harder than others. But it doesn't mean when you get the death card, oh my God, your mortality is at stake here.
Exactly. And you know, a lot of times if I do have someone who is brand spanking new and they're like, oh, it took me 3 months to make this appointment. And it's like, to me, it's just so funny, you know, but I will even just take the card, the physical card, and I'll be like, you know what? Hold on to this. I want you to hold this card. I want you to like familiarize yourself with this card. And you know, and I'll be like, well, how do you feel when you're holding it? And then I think it helps to kind of take that away, the, you know, just the anxiety of it. And it's like, okay, oh, it's a card, all right. And I'm like, well, what pops out for you? Like, I almost give it to them to like start reading. Like, I want to, you know, let's see what your intuition is telling you about this card right now. And I feel like when you break it down like that, then it isn't so scary, you know, for them.
Yes, no, it's great. Hey, Earth School Healing, I think that's a great point. Let them sit with the card for a minute. You know, let's take because you brought up, let's take the devil card because that's a great one. Because you know, if you're religious, again, if you have a fear of things like the
occult
or whatnot.
Well, look at that, this one too. Like this one is intense.
Yeah, look at that, exactly. The Santa Muerte deck, I love that.
Yes, Santa Muerte is not playing.
There's a lot of great artists out there. This is a good one.
I actually love this card.
I know, right? There's a lot of great artists out there that really do wonderful things with that devil image. And you know, the devil's not like coming after you if you get the devil card, okay?
Exactly.
It's like, not gonna.
He's not popping up in your closet.
Your soul is not in jeopardy now because the devil is coming after you.
Right.
Let's talk about what the devil is, especially if you get the devil in reversed.
Yeah.
You know, like I love the imagery, like, so not the imagery, I'm sorry, the definition of, so like I put it in like the analogy of like drug use, okay? Because a lot of times the devil can mean addiction.
Right.
Temptation. So that's how like I learned the devil. So I'm thinking, okay, so the devil initially doesn't want to admit he has a drug use problem. Okay. The devil in reverse has finally come to terms with they have a problem.
Right.
And I'll break it down like that to the people I'm reading, because, and once they hear that, oh, the devil's not after me, you know, or I'm not, then I'm like, I didn't even think that could be that way. But yeah, let's look at what the devil stands for. You know, it's like all
right.
And is the devil all bad? Like, come on, there are some people that could use a little devil.
Exactly, like that. Yeah, sometimes a little naughty isn't bad. So, and if somebody is like so serious and won't even like, you know, do anything that's a risk or just jumping, it's almost like the Fool card on steroids sometimes.
Yeah. Well, no, the Fool wants to have fun.
Right? Like taking that leap.
Nikki says, in the Witch's Tarot deck, it's called the Shadow Side. Gives me a little giggle because of a memory it triggers for me. But in other decks, I see it in a more traditional way. Yeah, 100%. And you got to go with what resonates with you. But the Devil card is not, it's just so not like in the biblical sense of the devil.
Right. And I think because especially the traditional, it has that symbolism in it. Like there's a pentagram. Oh no, there's, you know what I mean? And
Let's not even talk about the real meaning of pentagrams. Let's just let's just assume that, oh, it's all satanic, and oh my
Yeah.
God, I regret doing this tarot reading because I got the devil, I got death, I got the Ten of Swords, I got the, like, no, you might have a lot of problems going on right now.
Exactly.
It's the same reading.
And
But
it's like, are you deflecting because you don't really want to like talk about what you, because you know exactly what it is that we're talking about here.
right,
Like,
right.
you can't blame him.
No, just admit it. Just admit it.
It's time.
But I also love it when my intuition tells me that the devil should be explained as like, are you going out? Are you having fun?
Right.
Yeah. Because you're getting a lot of other, I'm getting this energy that you're not, and there's a lot of things that you're not enjoying in life, and you get cards like, I don't know, Four of Pentacles around you, and you have maybe the Four of Swords, and maybe like, I don't know, Temperance, who knows, a Hermit,
Right.
who knows, and you're just like, maybe you do, and then you get that Devil card in the future, maybe, and it's like, oh, well, maybe you are going to start going out, maybe you
Right.
can embrace that it's, this little naughty side.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
No. Oh, or even like, okay, well, you know what? Like, maybe coming up, you're going to be asked to do something a little bit crazy. Are you going skydiving or something? So if that pops up, that's your devil moment, and that's a yes. Like, you just do it. It's time.
Yeah. You don't have to do it every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And Earth School Healing said, and I like this too, I often see the devil as self-sabotage as well.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, yes, 100%.
Definitely.
A lot of times we are our own worst enemy, and that could be we're listening to that devil.
Yeah.
It's like, I definitely think I have like a little angel and a little devil here, and they both wear cowboy hats, and they're both like the angels, like,
The imagery is fantastic.
Thank you. I should just start, like, I literally should make my own like major arcana. I just have like two little things here as like the pillars, and just talk as like puppets, and I could like rig them.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm way too lazy to ever do that. So don't, someone else wants to steal that idea, take it.
Right.
Take
Tag
it,
us
and
though,
we'll
please.
applaud you. That would be the best little freaking thing ever.
That would be.
But yeah, that'd be awesome. I really want to do it now. All right, so the devil, not so bad. Death, not so bad. We've gone through the Three of Swords, Five of Swords, Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
All right, let's while we're on swords, the last one that we should probably talk about. It's not, I mean, of course you got the 8 and 9, but I mean, the Nine of Swords is more distressing, I would think, because it's affecting like your stress levels, your anxiety.
Right.
Sleepless nights. You're letting whatever is getting to you, like, get to you.
Yeah, like, and physically too. Like, you're not sleeping because of this. You know?
Whatever. When I was going to get to the Seven of Swords, no offense, Seven, if you're still on. But I think, so out of the 7, 8, and 9, the Nine of Swords, if any of those cards show up, first of all, like I said, they're really like shadow work cards, those cards.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Because the Nine of Swords is specifically, like in the traditional Rider-Waite, the person's sitting up in bed, like, and they're holding like their hands like this, and there's the astrology like blanket that has all the symbols on their quilt, and you have the 9 swords behind them. And I always made me think of like they're worrying about things that are not real. Right. There's like magical thinking types of maybe anxiety and worries that are not real, but yet they're still real enough to you to keep you up.
Right. Like your scenarios are creating scenarios at this point.
Yeah, great. And that's like shadow working. You have to get to the bottom of it. Why? Like, why are you, the Eight of Swords is that trap feeling, and a lot of times we're trapped because we think we're trapped when we're not trapped at all.
Yeah. No, we definitely are trapping ourselves by just having like limiting thoughts and just not even being able to look outside a situation. Like, you're just stuck in this little like tumble ball of like anxiety and worry, and you can't get out of it. Yeah.
And when it's reversed, you're finally able to break free. Yeah. Some of those swords cards you do want to see reversed, But once again, if they're not, it's not the end of the world, because they all have lessons to teach. Now, what do you think about the Seven of Swords?
I think I definitely think, you know, with the Seven of Swords that it's again, I just feel like it's just one of those really like mental cards that it all depends on where your headspace is at. Like how, like where is that at, and how, you know, and whether it's reversed or not reversed or whatever, like how are you gonna like navigate through that? How are you gonna change that?
Well, like, so the Seven of Swords is probably the card known for like theft, right?
Right.
Betrayal, deception, theft. You know, you ask about a relationship reading and you get like the Three of Swords and the Seven of Swords. It's probably not a great sign.
Probably not. No.
Probably not.
But then it's like, but then you can also, you know, with that seven, like, again, are you creating these situations? Like, are you the one that's like maybe even self-sabotaging in a way? Like, you know, you want, you know, maybe that relationship is crap, and but you know, you're not ready to admit it yet, and you're like almost like sneaking. You're the one that's being sneaky in it, and you don't even realize it.
I know. Look at, I just have to show. So this is the Nine of Swords picture, that little monster deck. That's so adorable. Like,
that is so cute. I want those little pajamas.
I know. Oh my God. Well, like, listen, I have the same ones.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, see,
don't
now
have the
I
same
need
one.
them. I'm trying to see if I can find the swords in this one.
We do. We all need those pajamas.
We do need those.
I think they would make any house happier.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I kind of think it's necessary.
What's that?
I think we can do it. I think it's necessary. I think we all should have them.
I 100% agree.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is the Ten of Swords image. Okay. The cute little monster still has 10 swords in his back.
Right.
You know, but it's not so bad. But look how big the sun is.
I know. I was just going to say that. The sun is like ginormous in that one.
Yes. And there's a cute little paper boat.
Yes.
I mean, there's really, I wish Joanne was like watching. I should have sent her like a message and says, hey, I'm going to be using your deck tonight. And I'm just trying to find the seven.
I know. I'm trying to find it too. It's
because,
like,
oh man, where are you?
Why does that always
happen?
happen?
Here it is. Here it is. It's exciting. See, this guy, he just looks very mischievous. Look at the little like mush thing on the ground. Look at him.
Yeah, like that little thing. Like, what is that?
With those swords.
I want to call him a bee boop, and I don't know why, but that's what I just named him.
Yes.
I named him a bee boop.
Well, you want to boop their nose.
Exactly. That's what it is.
Just like boop the nose.
Just boop.
Boop. Why'd you do that? I don't know. Just boop the nose.
So here's the Seven of Swords in this deck.
That's odd, that one.
So that's an interesting one, right? Like, I was like, what? And I actually had to I looked at it twice before I even. So it says on it says hope, reflection.
Well, it definitely looks like the person sitting there, I want to say maybe just went through something.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, he went through it. Like, he's just like, just that, like, okay, like, I'm gathering myself right now.
Yeah. And is it me, or does it look like he's sitting on a tomb?
He is. Yeah, it's a coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a coffin.
Yeah. So I mean, you can have a lot of imagery. Now, I know it is the Santa Muerte deck, so I mean, you're going to have a lot of coffins, skulls.
Yeah, it's going to be and actually it's all the coffin nails. It's a little dark to see, but these are all coffin nails down here. Like, he kind of like plucks them out, and then he's coming out of the coffin. So that's, you know, definitely a little bit different.
Or he pried himself out of that coffin.
Yeah, like that's why I'm like, he like, you know, hit him out or did something. And maybe he's the one too that he carved that in with one of the nails, like before he got out. Yeah,
it's possible. I mean, that card opens up a lot of really cool imagery with the Seven of Swords.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's why that one's really interesting. I don't think that I ever like really just sat and really looked at that card.
And to be honest with you, like me and you, we probably both have so many decks. It's like I have the Santa Muerte deck. I don't use it in readings, but like I'll look through it from time to time. But have I paid so much attention with that particular card? No, not at all. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because this is kind of a I I don't want to say rough as in bad or like that. It's just, it's a little bit more intense for a client reading, unless it's somebody that like I knew and I knew that they could handle it, or they're really into that. Yeah, I probably wouldn't use this one.
Right. There's some really intense decks out there. I love them.
Yes.
But there's
no,
some
I do too.
intense ones out there. You know, we need some more
There
space
are,
pirates.
and you know, yeah,
we need more space pirates.
We need the space pirates. And you know, and there was a couple decks that I kind of used on myself, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll use this deck. And then I get into the reading with the client and I'm thinking like, oh my God, why did I use this deck? Like, some of the cards pop out and I'm like, whoa, okay. So then we're working double time at that point. Like, that's why, really trying to get everything good out of this card we can, because it looks pretty dire.
So seriously, when I do my readings, I'll have like 3 decks and I'll pick one from each card. I'm like, this is the imagery you're looking at. What resonates?
Right.
Because I don't want there to be any kind of, like shocking moments or like, oh, that's pretty intense.
Right. Yeah. When I do expos and stuff like that, I do that. I have my very foofy, like I have the 3 of them, and I'm like, that's I always do everything in 3s. So that's what I'll do.
It's almost a magic number.
It is.
So, all right. So let's get out of the swords. What do you think about the 8 of Cups?
I think the 8 of Cups is definitely like potential. Like you're moving, you're almost there. You're getting to that end, because we are to that 8, but I do also, I kind of feel like with the 8 of Cups too, you can almost like break it down. Like if you start going into like almost that numerology part of it, like with the 8, the 4, the 2. So I almost, I feel like it's almost like an organizing card in a way, depending on what the other cards are around it, of course.
Right. I always call that card the karmic fuck you card. And because
that's good.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, here's the little image of
I'm trying to find it.
It's like you're literally turning your back on all of these stacked cups, right? And you're seeking out more of a spiritual life. In doing so, and the unknown, in doing so, you're turning your back on perhaps some that you've loved, or that you put in all of this attention, and now it's just gone. And now you feel, and there's a loss there. And so I always look at it as like, you've been taking shit for so long, what did it finally take, to make you walk away?
Right. Yeah. And like what I mean, like, and that's like what I was saying. Like, I think, we're going to 8, like, it's like you're condensing, you know what I mean? Like you're just condensing everything, because you're like, I don't need all of this. Like all of this like crap going on. We don't need this anymore. So it's like like you said, it's almost like spiritual condensing, and like, you know what? We're going to leave those nice and neat over there, and we're moving forward now.
Yeah. Because it really is, no matter how bad life can get.
Hard.
You know what I mean? I think there's always like potential for it to be better. I try to be like a glass half full person.
Right.
And, I just want to say, hi, Spirit Intuitive Tarot. Yes, I remember. Nice. Thank you for popping in. And so for me, like the 8 of Cups was always like a special card, because for so many people I know just put up with shit.
Right.
And they take it.
And they take it.
And some people ask for more.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think if you go through like a spiritual awakening, it's hard to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you almost can't at that point, because then you're just not being, genuine.
Yeah. I bring this up a lot to people that I do lives with. I feel like the negative of being a tarot card reader and doing it to the extent that I do, I feel like it's made normal conversations harder for me. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I can't, like, I'm not the best at dinner parties.
Right.
Because I'm
I agree.
there, and I'm just listening to everybody talk about all these mundane things.
Right.
And I'm just like, I just want to know how your love life is. I'm sorry.
Right, right.
You know,
Or
tell me
like,
something
again, I'm on
fucking
my
powerful.
phone on that app, on my app, on Joanna's app, and I'm just like, I'm going to pull a card on that. Let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, entertain myself, you know? Like,
Yes,
okay.
right. I wonder if only we could be talking about these things that, you know, it's so, it's too much to ask. But, you know, I just can't talk about like normal chit chat anymore. It's made it very difficult once you go
Yeah.
down the road of like hearing people's life stories and problems. And listen, being a tarot reader, you're going to have people come and sit down right away and start crying.
Oh, yes. Oh,
They
yes.
they need it. They need
Mm-hmm.
to unload, and maybe they don't want to go to a therapist. Maybe
Right.
they can't afford a therapist. Maybe they don't believe in therapists. Maybe they're very
Absolutely.
spiritual.
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
I've had conversations with clients, the same exact thing. And it's kind of a running joke with my husband. He'll be like, oh, how many clients did you make cry today? I'm like, I'm not making them cry. We're just talking about the things. That's why.
I know.
And it's like, it happens. But like
I
you
know.
said, there are some people that have sat down and it's just like, it's almost like they can just put all that emotional baggage right down that they've been carrying for so long. So
Mhm.
that lifted weight is just almost too much. It's overwhelming, I think, for them sometimes.
And then as tarot readers, and I know it's only if you believe in it or not, but what do you do with that energy once they dump it on you? And
I
yeah,
I really make sure to, kind of, have that protective bubble around and whatever. I mean, I think there's always like those couple that you get that will stick with you no matter what. I
usually in the
definitely,
beginning, as you're
yeah, like, and those you will always remember. But I really try to make it my own self practice to really release and ground after.
yeah,
And I
you
have
have to.
to. I
Yeah.
have to, because if I don't, then it's going on, and I almost like kind of like just kind of just kind of put it away. There it goes. It's gone. We're releasing it. And I, when people come back for another reading, they'll be like, "Oh, do you remember the last time?" And I'm like, you know what? No, I just
Yeah.
try to brain dump and just let it go. So
Yeah.
I might not remember exactly what we talked about, the cards or anything like that, because I need to like release that.
Yeah. And Nikki said, after developing a strong intuition, you can hear people's emptiness behind the small talk.
Yes.
100%. And
Right.
sometimes you want to give them a hug. You do. And
Yeah.
that's where the empathy comes in. Being an empath, you are
Right.
feeling their emptiness, and it's overwhelming.
It is.
What do you
It
do?
is.
And
And
you feel
and when they're
pain.
not being truthful.
Right. And you know what? It's not my place to call anybody out.
Yeah.
You can,
No.
but you can hear.
Right.
You can hear it in their voice, and you could just feel it. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes it's palpable. Like you're sitting there and you're just like, oh, I get it. I get it. But what are we going to do now to kind of help turn it around? And people, I guess, could go through years of therapy, and still feel empty. They're not going to get a fix with one session from a tarot reader. And I think that they put a lot of pressure on us if they maybe have come to terms with like, oh, maybe I'm going to try this out. Maybe they just need to talk to somebody. And maybe they just don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable telling people their problems, but then they won't have any problem telling us their problems.
Right. And I think for us too, we also have, the distraction of the cards. You know what I mean? So it isn't just like you're staring at me, I'm staring at you, and you're telling me all the things going on. Like it's kind of like a working relationship here, because you have these cards and you're focusing on the cards and the images and how they're making you feel and what you're getting from them. So I think that also makes it's like a buffer, and it makes it a little bit easier for clients to talk to tarot readers.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so much easier. Like you go into one of those like cute little crystal stores, right? Spiritual shops in town. They close the door, you get in there, and it's all just like nice music, incense, and
Mm-hmm.
like you're in a loving environment. Or
Right.
you should be anyway. If you're not, go find one that is.
Yeah,
I
please leave.
yeah, leave. Yeah, I mean, I tried doing events at like, bars and restaurants to get to more people, to show people that tarot is very normal and can be
Mm-hmm.
used as like problem solving. And it doesn't have to be magical if you don't want it to be.
Right.
That's the thing. And people take that out of context when I say that I believe that tarot could be for anybody. You could be a Catholic nun and use tarot to help you solve problems.
Absolutely.
You don't, it does not have to be associated with any one or one religion or one thing. It does not have to be.
No.
So I know some people criticize me for that. I feel like you can separate it, and you could take the most staunch, uptight business suit guy that doesn't believe in any spiritual things at all, would probably call it nonsense.
Right.
And then you have me with all my crystals and shit. And she's me coming a mile away. Like, what the fuck is this guy about?
What are they doing? They're very sparkly.
Yes. And I know. It's like, stop looking at my crystals, buddy. And then you're just like, you have to kind of disarm. I felt like, listen, I'm going to have to, this is like you're a man's man. Okay? I'm not going to talk about anything spiritual and magical with this tarot reading. I'm going to talk about his job, his wife, his family. I'm going to talk about the problems in his life. And we're going to talk about it like problem solving, team building. You know, tarot readers sometimes could get licensed by companies or be put on the payroll to help with teamwork and to just, help problem solve.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what we do. Nothing to do with magic. Although I love the idea of how my tarot cards and me and you, Jen, and everybody on this watching this, we're all magic. So it's just just different perceptions.
It is, and I think too, it's also that ego too, especially when people are right away like, this is crap. Nope, it's done. Like, it's that you need to kind of shift that and just like, you know what, just take your ego, put it down for 1 second. Don't worry, you can have it back.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about it. Let's just see what's going on. And I'm one too. I always give homework, like when I do readings, like as they always get homework of some sort.
Nice.
So, it is that, it doesn't have to be all like, woo, what is going on? And like, like Ghost or something. And, Whoopi's going to come in and start talking in tongues.
Imaginary restaurants. And insert your story to the narrative. I love that.
Yep.
It is true. I mean, you could do, they're pictures on cards, and they first were created for a game.
Yeah. They're a bunch of spoiled brats, really.
We're talking about the 15th century. This was not used for divination. There was no spiritual stuff in the beginning.
No.
There was nothing like that.
It was really for a bunch of rich people.
It was a card game developed for aristocrats. And over the years and over time, other people adopted it that were more religious, right? I think that's the story. And they just started using it. That's where like the whole divination came in, and it became a great scrying tool, right? Yeah. But initially, there was no magic. It was just a deck of cards.
It was. Yeah, it was a deck of cards, and it was real. I know, and they had it, the couple first different decks too. I know I was reading something about, even the images and the people in the cards looked like whoever was reigning at the time.
Yes.
And to like gain
the
favor.
Visconti.
So there was like even a political edge to that too.
Yeah, the Visconti, the Forza, I believe, all of those aristocratic families, whatnot, they were all in those decks. I mean, it's really funny to think about it. It's not just for one specific group of people. That's why I think tarot can be adopted by everybody. It really can. Teachers can use it in class with their students. Therapists can use it with their patients and should.
Yes.
Why not give somebody a strength card, and say, I want you to keep this, on your dashboard every day. Right. And when you're feeling weak, I want you to know that you are the strength card. You are the embodiment of this card. You can do whatever you need to do. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the cards have power because we give them power.
Right. And a lot of times, like if I am going through and doing a reading for someone and just a random card, for some reason, they just love this card. They totally resonate with it. And I tell them, here, take a picture of it, put it as your screensaver, you know, and have it like whatever it's bringing up for you when you are feeling down or something, you're having a crappy day, bring that up, because then, for whatever reason that is making you feel, good. So why not use that? Again, it's a tool, and
I
there's no
once,
reason why we can't use these things.
so I was once in a medical sales job where I was selling like toxicology. I didn't really like it. It was like a dirty type of like, you're selling like drug use panels for people that were like, abusing drugs, and they need to like, show the state that they're not using. So it's like, that type of thing. So
Right.
I was calling on doctors' offices, and I was also calling on treatment centers. And that's where I had the idea with all the therapists that were working at these treatment centers. I came up with this idea, tarot for therapy, or tarot therapy. So I reworked every card. It's on my computer somewhere, where it's just like how you can kind of navigate, take the Fool, for example, how you would use the Fool for someone that has an addiction problem, how you use the Fool for someone in therapy. And I actually, when I was in that sales job, I threw it out there. I was like, hey, would you mind if I tried something? I've been reading cards for a while, but I really think they'd be a helpful tool for your therapist here. Can we set up a meeting? A couple people allowed me to, and I started talking about tarot. And they wanted to just learn more about tarot. And I'm thinking like, well, listen, this is a great tool for your patients.
Right.
I mean, this is like you're already using probably affirmation cards. You might be using prayer cards. You might be even using oracle or angel cards.
Right.
So
Right.
what's the difference here?
Right.
Why not confront
absolutely.
them with the Three of Swords? Someone that keeps going after the same abusive relationship over and over and over again.
Exactly.
And
they
you have
keep going back, keep
that.
going back. Right.
I think if I had a psychology degree, I would write a book about that.
Right.
But
no, I agree. I definitely, I love that part of it too. Like I'm definitely like a psychology nerd when it comes to that. And, and even using it for kids, it's such an amazing tool for kids, because especially if you have kids too that are nonverbal. And if you can give them these cards and just be like, how are you feeling today? And they can give you a card, that can open that up for them and give them a little bit of power.
Right.
So, I do think that it could be used, and, and I mean, I think that they should be teaching meditation to kids and all this stuff, because I feel like it would just save so much trouble. Like, just think about it. If we all were doing this, like, since we were little kids, like, we could have really like cut out a lot of crap.
We would definitely learn more about ourselves.
Right?
Yeah, we definitely would. And listen, I don't want to say that I don't use tarot spiritually, because I'm constantly, trying to meditate with them, lighting my candles, having my crystals around, trying to gain enlightenment, I believe in all of that. Right. I just think that you can't bring that thought to your everyday person if you're trying to make tarot bigger for the world. I think if you have no interest in creating a brand, if you have no interest, then that's fine. Then it's your nice sacred secret spot, whatever you do it. I just think that more people should be able to use it with their everyday situations. And for those people that might be afraid of certain things, of the occult, esoteric, like spiritual, whatever it is.
Right.
Those people don't have to associate it with magic at all to get use or benefit from it, is my point.
Right. It's just more technical then at that point, and I do know people, and that's like the word I use, like I kind of call it like more like technical readers, because they are just, about the cards, about the image, and they're not into like, oh, well, even though they're using their intuition, they don't really, that's not their main focus of it.
Right. They're not using it for like divination.
Right. Yeah, they're just tarot reading. You could definitely, I think, separate it that way for sure.
Right. All right. So we just got way sidetracked, didn't we?
No, we are on the exact right track.
Exact track. Okay.
It's perfect.
All right. So in your opinion, what are some of the other cards that you feel get a bad rap? Did we cover them all, or is there a couple more?
I'm sure you can really go through all of them and really, find something, but I'm just looking. I have like all the cards on my desk. That's why I'm looking down. I'm like, which one is popping out at me right now?
Yeah. I mean, the Five of Cups, any five really. Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles.
Yeah, any of the fives for sure.
They're not the best welcome cards.
Yeah.
You want to see them reversed, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's definitely,
What about the major arcanas, Jen? Like, what are some of, like, we talked about death, we talked about the devil. Yeah, we definitely talked about Three of Swords early on. That was the first card we spoke about, Crystalline Code.
Right. We hit the Fool. We got the Fool.
Well, the Fool, but I don't look at the Fool as scary or dangerous. I just think the Fool,
No.
he's adventurous. He's free-spirited. If he's reverse position, I mean, I would definitely fact check before you go on that journey or whatever. You definitely have to, you know, make sure other people think it's the right idea. You don't want to be foolish. Oh, that's okay. I
think sometimes too, though, people could be afraid of the Fool because it's almost like, again, it's like calling them out. Like they know it's time to make that change. It's time to just trust the universe. And how many people are so afraid of doing that?
Well, a shitload.
Yeah.
That's the actual term. Yeah. That's really good. So let's take the walk down the major arcana. So Empress and Emperor, pretty fair. Hierophant, no problem. We get Lovers. We get, you know, I might mix some here and there. What do you think? What do you think about? So let's go to like the Moon.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I think the Moon gets a weird rap only because
it does.
Because it's.
I just had it here too.
Yeah, because I think with the Moon, you're only getting about 50% of what you see. Right? Someone's telling you a story and you want to clarify it and you pull the Moon card, chances are they're holding something back. Right?
Yes. No, definitely. Definitely. And I think with that one too, if you look at it almost in a shadow work way too, it's, you know, like the sun, you can say it's illuminating everything, like all the great things because it's the sun. Yay, wonderful. But I feel like sometimes the Moon in a shadow work sense is kind of shining its light on those things that you need to kind of give attention to that you've been shoving down.
Well, like your dreams.
Right.
Your subconscious, right? And that's what the Moon is all about. It's all about that crayfish, right? Drawing, like coming up from the center of the card, right? It's all about, you know, manifesting that shit that you can't see. It's like, and that's why a lot of people, I think, can interpret the Moon or are afraid to interpret the Moon really well because there's a lot to it. And it's one of those cards that it might not give you an exact answer. It might be like if you're shaking the magic 8-ball, it might be try again later card.
Right. Maybe.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. And if you think of it in the astrological sense, you know, the Moon, like your Moon sign is your emotional self and what you keep hidden from the world.
Yes.
So then, you know, if you're pulling that Moon card, you know, and, you know, are there some emotions that you're, you know, really stuffing down that need to be expressed, and that light of that moonlight is shining on it, like, you know what, you can't keep shoving this shit down anymore. It's time to like bring it up so you can move forward. Yeah,
I agree 100%. Like co-creating today said, what about the Moon having an ebb and flow to it, learning the tarot meaning versus astrology meaning. And Jen, do you usually incorporate astrology and tarot? I do all the time.
I do. Yeah, I feel like I can't even help it at this point. It just happens.
Yeah. Well, but I start off, I don't even need to know their names. I ask what their sign is initially.
Yes.
That's how I connect with them. And I don't need their whole chart. If you're just a sun sign Aries and you're an Aries, then we'll talk to you. I'm going to talk to you like an Aries. You know, if you know your big three, then okay, you tell me your Moon and rising as well. But it helps a lot.
It does.
And I can't, like I still go up to people and ask them what their sign is, and I feel like I'm some like shady guy like trying to pick up somebody. But I'm like, I'm genuinely, but I'm genuinely interested. You know?
Well, and I think, you know, as a reader, it really helps you because when you're going to explain, you know, the cards and all of those things, it really helps you to explain it in a way that they're going to be receptive to it.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
Do you want to pull some collective cards?
We can, yeah.
Are you going to be using that scary deck of yours?
I am. I have to get it all together, though.
Yeah.
It's all over my desk now.
Oh, my God.
I was like dissecting. We were dissecting.
We were looking for cards, and they were all on us. It was not.
No, and I didn't even find the Moon. Watch, I pulled it now.
No.
Yeah.
So wait, so one other card. How about Judgment?
I think Judgment is a very misunderstood card.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that people, I feel like, I mean, the imagery kind of leads to it too, that it has to be a very harsh judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that it always needs to be that way. So, you know, I definitely think that is one of those cards that it also depends like on what's going around it. I'm just trying to see what her question is here.
Well, it's also like, but if you look at the Rider-Waite, traditional Rider-Waite imagery, it's Judgment Day.
Yes.
That could turn off a lot of people too.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I mean. Like, there's like that harsh, like, you know, it's like, oh, great, here we go. Like, you are fully being judged. And, you know, I think for most people, that's like one of the scariest things is to be judged about, like, your emotions or who you are or how you're acting. Even though sometimes it's necessary, which maybe why that card's popping up for you. But I do think that it doesn't always have to be as harsh as the image suggests.
Right. I always look at like the horns of the angel, you know, as like your universal wake up call, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's in an upright position, that means you are fully aware of what you need to do. You're heeding the call. When it's reversed, everybody seems to know that you should be a rodeo clown except you. You know what I mean? Why are you avoiding? Just put on the makeup, okay?
Like enough already, like, you know.
Yes, you got the red nose right there.
We're all looking at you here, like, come on.
Oh, yes. Be that space pirate. Don't.
That's it.
That. Right?
I'm throwing cards around. Let's see.
You're throwing cards around. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what card I threw. What card the Three of Swords.
Again comes out. We started with it. We're gonna.
That's the Three of Swords for this. I couldn't find it before.
Yeah, and that's just. Yeah, that's like an uncomfortable situation. Yeah.
Yes. It's an intense. But I think in a way too, you can always look at it like that there is help. There is somebody, like, you don't have to go about it alone. There is somebody there to help you pull out those swords.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, especially with this card. I mean, he's sitting on your head, but you know, whatever it takes, right?
Maybe they're trying some weird stuff out. I don't know what's going on.
I'm like, what else is happening here? Like,
yeah, can we look closer on that card? What is going on?
Hold on, be right back. Let me see.
I know. Pizza. Crazy.
That's it. What do you right. Oh, Nicole, you know I'm always out of control. I mean, you know this.
Jen's out of control.
Out of control. Wait, I don't even know what the in control is. I mean, come on.
Yeah, what is in control?
What is that? It sounds boring.
I don't want any part of that.
No, thank you.
All right, so you're gonna pull a card for the collective.
All right, let's pull this card here. I have, look at the Nine of Pentacles.
That's a great card to pull.
Yeah. Collective. Or actually, yeah, the Nine of Pentacles. I couldn't tell if it was a 9 or a 6. It's a 9.
Yeah, there you go. I know that card. I love that Safaro, by the way.
Yeah, no, this is a good one, actually. Yeah, so, I mean, I think, you know, really, I feel like even just in relation of what we're talking about today, too, it's one of those things that, yeah, you know, everybody's just kind of really thinking about these cards and thinking about how they can use them in a different way. So it's just kind of like that. Okay, I'm gonna, you know, I'm putting these, you know, this advice and these different ideas in my toolbox.
Right.
So that's
so I pulled. It's funny, Judgment.
You got the Judgment. Oh, but he's a cute Judgment.
I know. Look at that hornblower right there.
His little curl.
It's like, can I first play you a song?
Right.
So for me, as like a collective reading, you know, and starting out with like 2022, I always go for like the big picture, right? And I always say like we should always be leading our best life, living our best life, following what we really want to do, you know. And so many of us do not heed the call. We are so stuck in ruts and patterns. And 2021 was garbage, just like 2020 was garbage, and for a lot of people.
Right.
Let's not keep 2022 that same garbage pattern. Let's forget, if you know that your life is being called to do something, then you do it. It's simple.
Right.
And even if you think it might be ridiculous, I wrote a book called Challenge Tequila. Beat me. Beat that. That fucking ridiculousness right there.
I love that. Well, and like on the card, like play your song. Don't be afraid to play your song. And
Yes.
like do
Play it
your
loud.
thing.
Play it
Yes.
loud.
Play it loud.
Freak flag fly.
Super high.
Do
Super
it.
high.
And you know what? Who could possibly judge you if you're living your best life?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because you're not gonna...
Look, we got 10 of Swords tarot joined. You missed the big
love
conversation about the Ten of Swords before.
Yes, you're going to have to go back and watch that.
I was getting called out by some people about how I was saying it's a scary card. I was like, there's no scary cards.
Yes, threats were thrown around. It was something.
Yeah,
we recovered pretty well, though, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really don't have a problem with the Ten of Swords.
No.
I really don't have a problem. Like when I was younger and I was learning tarot, some cards freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. Learning, I think when you start tarot and when the cards start telling, like truths,
right.
You know, and you're connecting on some level to this energy, and they are calling your shit out or calling out, you know, like your friends or family, whoever you're reading cards for while you're practicing. And I don't know. I just, I feel like there were times when I really like had to put my cards down for a little while. And as I got older,
well, and I think like your intuition too is like you're using your cards more, so that intuition is kicking in more, and that sometimes scares you, you know, because you're just like, whoa, what just happened? Like I just like thought of this and I pulled that card or whatever just happened. So sometimes it's almost like that, especially at the beginning.
Ten of Swords Tarot just said, I just made a reel explaining how it isn't scary. You guys send me that reel, man. Send me that reel.
Yes, I
definitely want to see it because it is. You hold that card or that person face down with 10 swords through their back. You know, it's like you could rub people the wrong way if you turn them off. But
absolutely,
you got to focus on the shadow side. You know, the healing. You gotta, you know. So So all right. So I don't think our I like doing the collective readings, but if there's like, I don't know. I have some more time. If people want me to pull a card for them, I can do a couple, I think.
Yeah, I can pull a card or two. I got a little time.
Okay. Yeah. If there's someone that wants like a card pull, what I like doing is we both pull a card when I say count to 3.
Okay.
And hopefully I'm still waiting to get the same card.
Yes. All right.
All right. So
challenge
then someone, and we'll just pull and we'll just kind of like, you know, maybe tie our cards together for this person. So let's read some. So until someone says they want a reading, I'll read some people's stuff. Right. So co-creating today, what would you suggest would be good for learning tarot, associating it to meanings in astrology for someone versed in astrology? I have a theory about learning tarot. I definitely think you should start with one card at a time. And I definitely think you should use clarifying cards. So like in my posts, so this is what I do every day. Not that I'm outright trying to teach people, but what I do, and it's easy for me to do it, is I pull 2 cards. The first card is the card, right? And then the second card is the clarifying card. So if you read my post, it'd be like, oh, this is so-and-so clarified by this card. Because the second card, the clarifier, gives it texture. It gives it details. It explains more. And that's really, I mean, the basics of it. So yeah, you can incorporate astrology. That's fine. I do a little bit. I don't go deep with it. I don't go deep into numerology either, only because I feel like I could lose some people. If I'm reading for another tarot reader or something, then you can go a little deeper. Right. But for your average person just coming off the street that wants a tarot reading, not so much. Because I just don't think it would resonate with them. I
don't think you need to at that point.
Yeah, you just need to kind of feel comfortable. Thanks, Ten of Swords Tarot. Yeah, it's like the texture with the 2 cards. It's like layers, you know? So Sober Sally, I just saw her. She would love to have a card reading.
All right.
Because I love that name, let's do that. So here's what we'll do. We'll shuffle the cards. Tell me when you feel like you got one ready for Sober Sally.
Okay.
And then we will count 3, and we will each flip a card. And we could,
All right. I'm good.
All right. Let me see. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
I didn't even look. What do I get?
What is that? Oh, I peeked before.
Queen of Wands.
Oh, I got the 5 of Cups. You got a way better card than me. Sober Sally. I'm so sad. Oh no! Don't cheer up.
Oh no! Look at. But then you got her. Look, she's like, no, we're not having that.
I know.
Like, it's time to get up and get moving.
Yes, Sober Sally. Be the Queen of Wands.
Yes.
Don't dwell on the 5 of Cups.
Nope.
Nope.
It's time for you to get up, get moving, and start taking some action steps.
You know, Sober Sally, you're way too fabulous to just be sitting there mourning over shit in the past.
Yeah, we don't allow it.
We don't allow
it. We do not authorize that.
I know. Ancient Voices said you were talking about 5s too much. We might have manifested them. I know. I was thinking like,
See, they're all gonna come back and haunt us now.
Yeah, but Sober Sally, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh my God, say that 3 times fast. Sober Sally, seriously. Sober Sally. I can't do it. I just think that, yeah, you know, you're way better, okay, than, you know, honestly, you think you are, because you probably think you're great too. But I'm just saying, there's that Queen of Wands, that magnetic energy that's just so empowering, and so like she can do whatever she can, and you can too. Yeah. So don't focus on shit that you've lost.
Right. Like there's more fabulousness there awaiting you. So harness that energy and not the blah, and get up and get going.
Yeah. Don't be that little dude.
Don't be him. Yes, we're not him, Sally. Not him.
Yes. All right, so I think who's your co-creating today would like one. So let's shuffle them again. Maybe I'll get another 5. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Hold on 1 second. All right, I won't look this time. All right, 1, 2, 3. Where are you?
What do I have? 4 cups. It's like we reversed it.
I know. I'm keeping that. Well, I did pull it upside down first.
You did.
But whatever.
It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read this. I'll read it reverse. Whatever. I feel like there's, you know, when you consider the work that you're doing in your life, because the 8 of Pentacles upright clearly means this will be a day of hard work for you. Mm-hmm. You know, put your head down, get it done, do it. When it's reversed, you know, you have to question about the shadow sides of work. Are you happy with what you're doing? Are you producing what you're doing? Are you producing what you expect? That's what I meant.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think, you know, like, don't get stuck in it. Like, you could, you know, think about that, but think of it in a way that you're going to be making decisions and being able to do something about it, and not just get stuck in it and, you know, get stuck in that thought pattern when there are these things all around. There are things around you, but you can't see them because you're all like in that tunnel vision of the situation.
I think, like, you know, the work that you're doing, obviously we take it all seriously. There's a lot of messages about this card. You know, you nose to the grindstone. You'll get the money eventually. It will come. Mm-hmm. When you get it reversed, it's like you want the money to come faster, and you might cut corners to do so. And in some way, cutting corners is okay, but sometimes you sacrifice the quality of what you're doing.
Right, and I think that'll come back around and bite you, and then you're going to be like, oh, damn, I shouldn't have done that.
So if you're really unhappy with your job, maybe consider, you know, like finding the source of why you're unhappy. But I just think, you know, it's just, you have a lot of work ahead of you, and maybe just go about it like, have like a hangman perspective where you just change your perspective, you know? Yeah,
and just accept the flow. You know, it's like that for a reason.
It'll get there eventually.
Right.
You have to trust the process.
There you go.
And a lot of people Don't want to trust the process.
No, because we're all impatient.
Yeah, Ten of Swords Tarot. You're right. Another definition of it is completely, I feel like the Eight of Pentacles reversed changes it from hard, meaningful work to monotonous work. Exactly. So Ten of Swords just reminded me of the reversed Three of Pentacles. So, because I feel like that's a job of like teamwork where you're building something together, and when you get it reversed, you're probably better off doing it alone. Or shoddy craftsmanship, or whatever it is. There's a lot of similarities between the cards. That would be an interesting topic to talk about. Like, what cards really can be compared with another card? Like we just said, Eight of Pentacles reversed. I find a lot of similarities with the Three of Pentacles too.
Right.
So
definitely that is definitely, you can let, that is a whole nother, discussion, because even the symbolism shows up in different cards for different reasons. They're both in the same, the same symbol in these cards, but they're there for different reasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Even so if you look at even there's 3 wish cards in the tarot, right? You have the star. Right. You have is it the nine of cups? The Nine of Cups.
Nine of Cups. Yeah, Nine of Cups.
That's the second, and then you have the Seven of Cups. Is the third minor wish card, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
So, I just think there's a lot of correlations. Is all I was trying to get at is obviously if you have the star, make a wish. It's your time, but it's also about healing, right? And if you have the Nine of Cups, you could probably make a wish right now and it'll come true. You have everything you want, but are you
or your wish is like right there, like you're so close to it, like keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And are you appreciating what you have? That's another big one. Like
a gratitude even. Just making sure you're doing that so things keep going, according to plan or how you want them to happen.
Now, I have a feeling that Ten of Swords Tarot is their favorite card might be the Ten of Swords. I'm just getting intuition things about that. So Jen, can I ask you, do you have a favorite tarot card? Is there one that you've always had that means some type of personal message for you? It doesn't have to be a powerful card. It could be any card.
I think for me, for example, when I open a new deck, the card I always go to is the Queen of Wands.
It's a great card.
And that I don't, and it's one of those things I didn't even realize I was doing it until someone pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do that. So I think, I just love that energy of that card, and just that, it's like you're moving and you're doing everything, but you're also doing it in a nurturing way. So you're moving and you're taking action, but you're also nurturing it along the way. So I don't know. That card always, stuck out for me.
Yeah, I just think I had a friend of mine tell me a long time ago, before I was even really, I think I was just learning tarot at the time, and he's like, every guy wants to marry the Queen of Wands. And I say that sometimes, and I'm like, because every woman embodies every queen or king. It doesn't matter. It's genderless, really.
Right.
But we embody all the cards at different times of our lives. So there are moments you can be the Queen of Wands, but there's other times you may need to be the Queen of Cups, and there's maybe tomorrow you need to be the Queen of Swords, and maybe you need to be the reverse Queen of Swords.
Right.
And that's fine, because it's not going to last. It's going to change,
Yes.
Yep.
It does.
It
really depends on the day.
It really does. And, but Queen of Wands is a great card. I used to have this thing with the Knight of Swords. Every time I would pull the Knight of Swords, something really bad would happen. And a lot of tarot readers would probably say, and this is why I think you could be a tarot reader that's versed in all of the definitions of all the cards, know them backwards and forwards, trust your intuition, you combine the two, but you're also going to come across cards that you pull that are going to have special meanings to you, right? Because you pulled them so many times.
Right.
That's actually a really other good way to learn tarot, right? You take one card, just one. All right, don't overwhelm yourself, and you bring it with you throughout the day. Okay, walk with it. If you can't meditate with it, you just look at it. You just try to focus on that one card all day, and then just So with the Knight of Swords, I don't know where it started. Wherever I pulled the Knight of Swords, I would hear really bad news, like whether someone died or there was an accident or something. So it still resonates with me to this day. So whenever I'm
Oh,
pulling, like I'm doing a reading and the Knight of Swords comes up, especially like in a relationship setting, I'm thinking, what an asshole. What a
yeah.
And I don't think that's fair to the
Right.
cards because the Knight of Swords, I think in general, isn't a bad guy. I think he's
Mm-mm.
rash. I think
Yeah.
he doesn't think, but it's not like a
No, he just
happy
does.
like Tigger thing where he's just like boop boop boop, I'm in your face and now I'm bothering you. He's more thoughtful in a sense of like he knows what he's doing. He's
Yes.
coming in and he's coming out and he's slashing and he's making his presence known, and in
Right.
doing that he can hurt you.
Yeah, and he chooses his words carefully because he knows that he's going to keep moving. So
Yeah,
what he has to say, it has to be very effective,
yeah,
and it's not always the nicest thing, but I feel
yeah.
like, that's definitely something that a Knight of Swords would be like.
And he's also can be used as a tool by any other card, really. Queen of
Mhm.
Swords can be utilizing the Knight of Swords to get the job done.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's very weird how specific cards mean different things to you that go completely against the basic definition. And
Yeah.
I love how mediums that are truly gifted with talking to the other side or whatnot, they'll do readings with tarot cards and they won't even know how to read the tarot cards. They
Right.
they don't know how to read tarot, but they're using the images to help connect.
Hmm.
And it's amazing, when like you're in front of a good one that's really like, on their shit. It's great.
Yeah.
So
It
there's
is.
really no rules in tarot is I guess my point.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think you have to make it your own and you have to make it work. Like, because what works for me may not work for you and vice versa. So,
Exactly.
and you really have to, practice and do it. And like you said, take those cards around. How is this showing up in your day? How do you relate
Mm-hmm.
to this card? How do you relate to the image of the card? And, and it's like, I think that again goes to like, we're just impatient. We want to like, and when I teach people tarot and stuff, they're like, I just want to know how to do it. I just want to, and it's like, yes, but by doing it this way, you're just going to have deeper, more meaningful readings. And you're also working your intuition. So by the time you're done going through all 78 cards, like your intuition's going to be like jacked,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and then you're going to be
listen,
off you go.
and don't be hard on yourself if you can't memorize all the cards. I
Right.
mean,
It
all
takes
you have to do
time.
is really look at them
Mm-hmm.
and how do they make you feel?
Right.
Talk about the images. You could even talk about the images as you're explaining the cards to someone as you're practice reading. Put down the little white book. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
try going by just your intuition.
Right.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, because I think there are people that are truly, psychic. They'll get the messages, and the cards will be that conduit for them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really it. And you can just trust the process. Some people don't
Right.
have that easy.
Right. And they need
Other
those
people
like
do.
base. I think at some point, any tarot reader though, I think it's always good to kind of just, do the research and just really see what those, base meanings are too. Because I feel like that does help. And I don't think you need to necessarily do it right away. Sometimes after we like hone our craft and stuff, then we start like looking into like the where it came from and how it started. Why did they put this here and why did they put that there? And I don't think you necessarily have to do that right at the beginning. But I do think that it's a really cool thing to do. Just to even, add, just kind of adding more to, your readings and how you do them. Cause you might really relate to one of those or you might not. So when
Yeah.
you comes up in a reading, you're like, okay, no, this is how I'm taking it. This is what my intuition's telling me. So I'm definitely going with this. And
Yeah.
I feel it gives you a little bit more confidence too, because there's so many people out there now, especially on, on all the social media, on TikTok and all those things, that are like, nope, if you don't do this and if you don't do that and if you don't do this, and it's so discouraging. It's so
Well, where are they
discouraging.
even getting this information from? Why are they
I
coming
don't
up with
know.
such a like restrained kind of like ideology? Who's teaching them this shit? Are
Right.
they getting this just from themselves and they're just preaching? Like I love the one. Let's talk about this. This is always so funny. How many times a day are you asked, should I buy my own tarot deck?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. When
Seriously?
I was
People.
teaching,
People. People.
no.
Listen, if you want to be paranoid and superstitious, bring your best friend with you to a bookstore or a spiritual store that sells tarot cards. Pick out the deck you want and have them buy it for you. Because I can't tell you how many decks people have got me that I can't relate to. I will never resonate with. I don't understand the imagery. I don't get behind it. So if you're waiting for that special person to buy you a tarot deck because you think you can't buy them yourselves, I really need to show you all of my freaking tarot decks.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
And I would never have started reading if that was the case. I didn't have, this long line of, people in my family that read and the deck that came through. And it's like, if they have that, that's awesome. But I really don't think that's the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And it's like, if, that would be wonderful. But also, like you said, I have talked to so many people that are like, oh, well, my friend gifted me this deck, but I really don't like it. Like, I look at it, I don't like the colors, I don't like the whatever. And it's like, pick out what resonates with you, and because you're going to be able to read it better.
Yeah. I think like if you want to learn tarot and you don't have a deck and someone buys you like a Rider-Waite as a first deck, I think that's a great gift because I think everybody should have probably.
Yeah, you should. It's like that standard. Yeah, you should always, have it there.
That's a good idea. Maybe that's what was implied. But like, I'm not going to go out and buy you like, the Cyberpunk tarot deck if you've never seen it before or have never even, you don't even know what Cyberpunk is.
Right.
Why would I do that?
Right.
And the person that gets it as a gift, you're going to be like, what the fuck am I going to do with this, Dave? Why'd you get me this? I don't know. Is this going to be my tarot deck now that I have to use because you bought it for me? No.
Exactly. Like, then you're stuck with it and you can't read the images. And so then you're just like, then you put it down, put it in this cabinet, and then you don't read.
Yeah.
The whole situation's over.
Yes, exactly. And I'm reading what Nikki said, and it's funny when we say they, because I still don't know who they is. Although I don't really like they, because they put a lot of shit upon us that we don't need.
Yeah.
They want to make everything very ceremonial. That's why I've been in and out of it for 25 years. I can't do anything or everything in a ceremonial way, or anything.
Right.
Listen, you don't have to make it. What people don't know about ceremonies and rituals is that we're doing them every day, and we don't even know we're doing them.
Right.
Okay. Like you make your bed every morning. It's a ritual. Okay, you make dinner, it's a ritual. You make a cocktail, it's a ritual. You can even make it into a ceremony, and it's not even a big deal. It's just intention. It's just, it's just putting your power towards the right thing. Like, I believe in all of that stuff, but I also believe that you don't have to do any of it.
Right, and that's not bad, good, or in between. It's just whatever is coming to you, whatever you feel like doing, and because that does go with decks. It goes with. I do a lot of like moon work and stuff like that. And people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't release with this moon. Now what? And it's like, guess what? Next month, there's another one. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Love that. It's fine. It's never fine when you say it's fine.
Right. And for me personally, I don't like when people tell me what to do. So the minute I start seeing all that stuff, I just get all sorts of angry. And I'm just like, nope. I'm done here. Bye.
Well, I think that's why there has to be voices in every industry that kind of counteracts. I mean, there's listen, I don't think anyone's right or wrong. I think you can't tell people the right way in something like tarot because who the hell are you to know it's the right way?
Right. And it
you
may
weren't
really
around
when
it was first created, and let's not get back into why it was created in the first place because that's going down a road no one wants to go down.
Exactly.
So I think I think there's no rules in tarot. Go out. Let's give them a homework assignment, Jen. Go out tomorrow and buy yourself a brand new tarot deck.
Exactly.
Okay?
One that you like.
One that you like and that you might actually even use. Or even you don't even have to use. You just like looking at it.
Yeah. If you just have it. You just have it sitting there and you look at it and you shuffle it and you put it down. That's perfectly okay.
I would love to hear everybody just go out to do that and then just like post a picture
and
of like
tag us.
And besides, you're all awesome out there. You deserve a new tarot deck. You need to go buy yourself a gift.
Yep.
Could be anything.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
That is authorized.
What's that?
I said that is authorized. We authorize that.
Yes, we authorize that.
Mm-hmm.
What's another myth, Jen? What's another myth?
What's another one?
I mean, the really just like lame ones.
Letting somebody touch your deck.
Oh yeah.
That's something.
I mean, come on. Once
again, that's up to you. I mean, if you want, and there's so many ways to cleanse the deck if you feel like it. Like if you feel it needs it, listen, if someone touches it, big deal.
Yeah, I love Ancient Voices ads.
Yes, Amber.
You just made me chuckle.
That's my friend Amber. Yeah.
So
See, she knows. She knows. Yes.
So I think, yeah. What is it? Yeah. So with that, so touching your cards, I think in a pandemic you shouldn't let them touch your cards.
True.
Right. I don't think you can catch them from things like that, but I just would probably be
right.
Just like in flu season, anyway. You don't want to. I'm not so much worried about energy transfer, because I believe in my cards, and I will, sage them, and I will put crystals on them, and I will, say a little something. But I don't.
I just knock on it 3 times. So
yeah, I like
doing
that too.
expo or something.
Yeah,
that's
the
easiest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just come across that so much too. They're like, oh, I had a student was like, oh, they told me that the client that my friend touched my cards, I have to burn them, and I'm like, excuse me, what?
Touch them and burn them.
Who told you this? And who is this person? Like, I'm like, I need to talk to them right now because that is just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But she was all upset. Yeah, she was all upset. Like, oh my God, I don't want to burn my cards now. And she told me this one time, and I'm like, what? Like, people need to just stop that. They need to stop it.
So Jen, you heard about like the death threat I got right in social media. Did you hear about that with all the scams?
No, I didn't.
So this is another thing everybody that reads tarot cards has to be mindful of. So it kind of works. So a few weeks back, someone put up a fake account of mine. So one of my friends said, hey, Dave, someone put up a fake account, and they sent me a picture. And I looked at it, and they used my logo, which is trademarked, which pissed me off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Yep.
Yeah. And I was just like, and all I said was, and you could probably go on my page and look for it. It's a little further down, but I took a picture, a screenshot of the actual dialogue that was sent to me, only because I said, hey, that's trademarked. I'm going to need you to take that down ASAP. It's not, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do that. And they pretty much said that I'm going to kill you with my spell. You and your family are dead.
Oh.
Yeah. So family threats, things like that. It was vulgar. It was like, it was just very, because here's the thing, and this is why the magical part of tarot is it can lead to misunderstandings.
Yes, it can get touchy.
There are some people that can tend to believe in this stuff. So if I said, oh, you're cursed, they're going to be like, oh my God, I have a curse now. And then they're going to go and they're going to find somebody, and they have to, then they're going to try to, help the person. All right. So the good thing is like the idea behind that is the good people that are not going to charge you to remove negative energy. They're going to do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right. And
also,
they're helping.
If you cast negative shit someone's way, you're going to get it back threefold.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's just the laws of the universe.
That's it. Exactly.
What did Nikki say? You'd have to be brave to send a death threat to people in the metaphysical community. Right. Yes. But here's the thing. This was probably a Russian bot. Okay. This was probably someone that doesn't give a shit. Okay. And they said I would be dead by the end of the night, like by morning. Oh, nice. So it was a very stressful night. Right. So I had some friends get my back and everything. It was a stressful night.
Wow.
But afterwards, like, they should have been smarter and said, like, oh, you have like 2 weeks. I would have been like, oh no, I would have like the worst 2 weeks of my life.
Right. No, they gave you a pretty immediate one. So I mean,
so actually, Actually, I knew it was bullshit. I just don't like threats. So, so that's the negative energy part, threats. I don't think anybody, it's just, and you didn't even, like, if I didn't say anything and I just blocked them, they wouldn't have done anything. But they, only because I said, please take it down. Now, that same week, two of my friends in this community got death threats too. So we thought it was from like the same person, but
Yeah.
they got theirs, I think, via email.
Oh wow.
Very
Okay.
weird. I mean, it's just so
That is
weird.
weird.
So
Just
I
someone
so
to take the time to do all that. It
well,
blows my
that's what I
mind.
always say. All
It's
those
insane.
people that are putting up scam accounts are
Mhm.
obviously pretty smart. They're doing something. Why don't they just put the energy in actually doing something good?
Yeah, like real.
Anything.
Like really anything. There's so many things. Like post pictures of fluffy dogs. I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean,
whatever. Well, you can't make money off of those. Well, you can if you, I guess, but
well, if you get like influencer status, they're
yeah,
sending you like
yeah,
leashes and money for things. I don't know
yeah,
anything but what they're doing. I mean, because
yeah.
it's exhausting. It's getting exhausting.
But that's why I brought that up with like,
Mhm.
like the piggyback on of like, you're not supposed to buy your own deck. There's a lot
Right.
of things here that are just unknown and people get panicky about them.
Right.
So why
And
do you have to just because there are cards that can help you?
right. And
No.
I think too, just knowing that, if you sent me an email and was like, listen, someone said blah blah blah, I'll totally respond to your email. I have no problem doing that. Like, ask a trusted person these questions, even, because some people I think are also afraid to ask, and they're afraid of the answer. They're afraid of just asking, like that alone is going to bring them bad energy. But don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's really important for people to know too.
Oh yeah. Like you mean about like like whether you're legitimate or not, is that what you mean? Like if you want
Yeah, if you're legitimate, if you're,
yeah.
if you want, you have never had a tarot reader before, and you message them or email them and say, hey, could we just chat? I have a couple questions for you or whatever. You can do that. You
Oh
can
yeah.
ask
Oh yeah.
questions. And I
100%.
and I feel that a lot of people don't know that, or they're afraid to do that. And for me, I'm all about that too, because then I know that that person's going to be really invested in their reading, that we're going to have a good reading, because it isn't going to be just like, they come, they sit there, cross
Yeah.
their hands, and are
Yeah.
like, all right, tell me everything.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean, how many of
wrong.
those
You
have you
didn't get
gotten?
this right. I'm like, okay, all
Yeah.
right. Um,
So,
yeah,
definitely
we
don't be
do
afraid to do that.
we do give, in a sense, consults, right?
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
any legitimate tarot reader, I think on my website I have somewhere, it's like if you're interested, call me for a consult and I'll talk to you about the way I read tarot cards because
Right.
it's important. Because
It
if you're
is.
looking for a psychic medium, I'm not your guy. I'm not going to bullshit you. That's not
Hmm.
what I do. You
Right.
know, um, but there's enough of us in this community to all get a piece. I don't get it. There's
Yeah, I don't either.
I
No,
don't.
I don't. And there's so many times that, like, I have talked to somebody, and, you know, I mean, and we know right away when we sit down with a person, like, whether it's going to work or not. And there definitely have been times that, maybe that person really needs a more technical reader. Like,
Yeah.
I am way too, up in space for them. And, I'll be like, you know what? I really think you'd benefit from a reading from this person, and give their info. Like, here, go try them out and see what you think. Or we did do a reading and they're like, well, I don't really know anything about that. I'm not
Yeah.
happy with it. All right,
Right.
cool. Go try that other person and see. And
Yeah.
I've had them actually message me back and thank me, because they were like, oh yeah, that was really great. And they actually said what you said, but we just really vibed better. And that's great. I'm not going to be holding any grudges about it. Like, you're
No.
happy, then I'm happy.
Yeah. And listen, if someone has like an awful reading, like I almost feel bad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't pay me then. It's like I don't want to make it. I think there's an authentic aspect to what we do. We're
Right.
not in it to screw people. We're not in it to make them pay more money.
Right.
We're not soliciting readings.
Nope.
You know what
Never.
I mean? So I think if you're straightforward and they have a good reading and they want to pay you and you accept it, it's a good transaction. You're both feeling good about it.
Right.
But if something is off, I don't want to. I feel weird taking that money.
Yeah, then it's off.
I
Yeah.
don't.
I mean, because
Just
that is
sorry, it's not.
energy.
It's. I don't know. It wasn't what we both anticipated. Hey, Missy.
Right.
I don't. I don't get it. But there's a lot of that in this community because and you listen to like the tarot lady talk about because she's getting like scammed like 3 to
Oh
5
my gosh, I feel so
days.
bad for her.
I
It's
know.
crazy.
Well, no one does anything to help her. Like Instagram should freaking verify her and they should help her out. But that's a story for another day. I'm just
Right.
saying like they're constantly happening because our community, unfortunately, the tarot readers, we're wise And we know that we're not, taking advantage of people, things like the legitimate ones. But then you have people that don't read tarot that are looking for tarot readers on Instagram or astrologers on Instagram. And they come across one of these scam accounts. Right. And all of a sudden, they're like, hey, beautiful soul.
Yes.
Your energy seems a little off.
Exactly. Right.
Like reading.
Yeah, your guides contacted me because, something is hovering around you. And it's
unbelievable. Yeah, it's called Your Negative Energy.
Exactly.
Your get away from me.
Ass. That's what it is.
Yes. A grand rising, Nikki. Oh, it's another one. Oh, what does that even mean?
I don't know either. That one creeps me out.
I know, grand rising. I'm like, what?
I don't understand what that means. Like, keep it.
I don't know. Or is it my rising sign?
Right. Like, what's rising? Should I duck and cover? Like, what does this mean?
What's rising?
I know. It just brings so many questions that I don't want to answer.
Does anybody know?
Anyone, because I don't know. It just freaks me out.
I really wish someone had a freaking idea so they could help me out. And you know what? I think my soul is beautiful, but don't tell me my soul is beautiful. It's my soul.
Don't look at my soul. You don't
look at my soul.
Allowed to. I didn't give you permission to do that.
I know. So
stay away.
I want to know, like, the first person that thought of grand rising or beautiful soul. Where are they coming from? Where are they getting this information? What do you think? Why would you think I would resonate with that?
Right.
If I was a regular, just average person that just wants a tarot reading. All right. And I go and I see tarot and tequila with 01. Right. And there's no numbers on me. It's just tarot and tequila. But if someone does that, they're like, oh, well, they don't know. They don't know. And then all of a sudden I'm calling them my bot scammer account is saying, hi, grand rising to you all, and blah, 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 beautiful soul, blah, 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 blah. How about a reading? You seem like your energy's off. Oh, and for another $75. And oh, by the way. Yeah. And I'm just like,
I'm back in 2 weeks because, we'll have to have the booster for $75.
Yeah, your energy is still off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. 2 more weeks. Let's try it again.
Yeah. We have to get this awful smell just off of you. It just stinks. You can't smell me.
Really there. I can sense it from here, and it's disgusting. Whatever you're walking around with, it's disgusting. Yeah. I think it's got to be at least $500 worth of disgusting.
Oh, 500? Hold on, let me sell a bunch of things. I'll get right back to you.
Right.
People are getting taken advantage.
Sure, take it. It's beautiful. You told me it's beautiful, so here, I'll sell my kidney and get money for it.
No. It's only a kidney. We have 2.
Yeah, well, big deal. It's fine.
Jen, this stuff it really makes me sick because they're taking advantage of a broken-hearted person.
Right, they are.
Really
and I think that's probably the sickest part of it is that you are taking advantage of a vulnerable person that really is looking for help.
And you're not trying to help them. You're using their pain as almost like a fear.
Well, and as you're making it worse, then that person's going to be traumatized and they're really not going to trust anybody.
And they're going to keep paying you.
Right. And that too.
Because they're expecting you to remove this curse or or change their energy or to light a candle for such and such or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's awful. And it will come around to them.
It will.
It will. Especially the more people you scam. I'm not talking about the bullshit accounts. You could scam whatever. You could scam all of the legitimate tarot readers up there because that's not hurting the people. That's just pissing us off.
Yeah, that's just inconvenience.
That's just an annoyance.
It is.
But when you start reaching out to the people that follow me.
Yes. And that's when we're getting angry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So I think there's a lot of pain in this community right now. And there's a lot, and I think it just has to do because it's so mysterious. There's people that just want answers. They're looking for anything they can grasp. And then you have the good people and you have the bad people. And I know to make it so, I don't mean to minimalize it, but that's really just what it comes down to.
No, it is. I mean, it is what it is,
You either bring the light or you don't, people. It's one or the other. And I like to think that the people that I associate with on this channel are light bringers. And if you ever hear me asking someone for a reading, if I ever tell you, Jen, that, hey, I think you need a reading, would you like a reading? I'm not going to charge you, because that's me offering my service to you.
Right.
If I say, you know, I'm going to give you a reading, I wouldn't expect you to say, how much do I owe you? Because I said, I'm giving you a reading. You know,
right.
it's different.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, you do that with friends too all the time, especially tarot people. Like, hey, this is going on. Can you pull a card for me?
Yes.
Like, you know, and like
I swap readings with people all the time.
We do it all the time. Yeah, definitely. And that's completely different.
It's a courtesy. I love reading for other readers and getting their takes on it and doing the same thing.
Right.
Nikki says, the whole world has been struggling for the last couple of years, and these sick people are taking advantage of that too. Yes, of course they are.
They are.
That's why when you get solicited by anyone seeing this or watching this on playback or whatever, thank you for watching it live. If anyone ever reaches out to you, calling you beautiful soul or not, and just saying, would you like a reading? You know, or I think you need a reading, or just know that's no legitimate tarot reader will do that. Yeah.
We don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't have, there's no reason for it. So, yeah.
Thanks, Miss Windex. I love your name, by the way.
Thanks. I know. That's great.
I love that. This is Windex 10.
Yeah. That's
you could
fun.
be 100. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Jen. I think we should probably call it. We've talked for a while tonight.
We did. That went fast, though. It didn't seem like
I know. I'm like looking up and I was like, oh my God. So I'll post this, right? And then I'll tag you in it.
Awesome.
And yeah, and that's really it. And if you ever want to do this again, let me know.
Yeah, we'll chat soon. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Bye, everybody. Thanks for popping in.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
See you later.